The Dragon spacecraft you see outside the station's Harmony module today arrives with around 5,500 pounds of total cargo. About 3,300 pounds of that is pressurized, while another 2,100 is unpressurized. And about 1,600 pounds of the cargo, the bulk of the pressurized cargo, is actually science investigations. There's always science going on the International Space Station. It is our orbiting laboratory. Dragon may look like it is attached to the International Space Station, and while we do have that first stage capture, we'll be looking for second stage capture to occur, and that's the driving of 16 bolts to firmly attach Dragon to the International Space Station for its month-long stay. The Canadarm is now limp, which sets it up for the second stage capture to begin shortly. That's that driving of 16 bolts to secure Dragon to the International Space Station. As you can see, the station is now in an orbital nighttime, having recently crossed the terminator line. That's the line between daylight and nighttime as the station orbits the Earth at over 17,000 miles an hour. It's currently over the Indian Ocean and will be coming up to cross Australia shortly. On its arrival today, SpaceX's Dragon is the sixth vehicle parked at the space station right now. It joins two Soyuz spacecraft, two Russian Progress resupply crafts, and Northrop Grumman's Cygnus spacecraft. You can see the configuration of those spacecraft on the International Space Station and their parking spots. We've been looking forward to the arrival of Dragon, and we're expecting it a little bit earlier, but on April 29th, teams identified an issue with the main bus switching unit. That's distributes power to 2 of the 8 channels on the station, and there were no concerns to the crew or the station, but it's important that the station has its full power capability when a vehicle arrives, and the Canadarm2 had a backup string of power for Dragon's arrival. This video shows a remove and replace of that MBSU, which occurred over 2 days last week, using the special purpose dexterous manipulator to complete the operation. Station is now in an optimal configuration for the capture and berthing, which is occurring currently. And we're getting word that those 16 bolts, which are the second stage capture, are now beginning to rotate and further attach Dragon to the space station. The 16 bolts that are turning now are referred to as A bolts, which stands for acquired bolts. And once they are attached, it will secure Dragon, and that will conclude today's operations. We're continuing to monitor the berthing of the Dragon resupply craft to the International Space Station. Dragon was captured this morning at 6:03 a.m. Central Time by Canada's David St. Jacques. And important to note, David is actually the first Canadian Space Agency astronaut to use the Canadarm2 to capture a vehicle.
station Houston, Space to Ground 2, no response required, but the exercise constraints are lifted. Feel free to exercise.
And now those 16 bolts have finished driving into Dragon, firmly securing it to the Harmony module on board the International Space Station and concluding the berthing process. This wraps up Dragon's 2-day journey after it launched on May 4th and arrived this morning being captured by Canadian Space Agency astronaut David St. Jacques. Ground teams then used the Canadarm2 to berth the Dragon to the International Space Station at 8:32 a.m. Central Time, as the station was flying about 254 statute miles over Australia. Now the Dragon is attached to the International Space Station. It will remain on board for about a month, and the crew will begin to open the hatch later this afternoon. They'll spend the next few weeks unloading the cargo before reloading it with about 4,200 pounds of research hardware and crew supplies, and sending that back to Earth for a safe splashdown. That wraps up our coverage for this morning's Dragon mission, SpaceX's 17th commercial resupply mission to the International Space Station. Thank you for joining us live from the International Space Station Flight Control Room. This is Mission Control Houston.